the homestand continues. Right side, we get to flush this loss from Ottawa, against Ottawa, I should say, right out the toilet. We get to throw it in the trash bin and throw it on the back burner. But we lost to Ottawa in this one. Yeah, well, we wanted to win the game, but you can't win if you can't score. Penguins and Senators on Penguins postgame. It starts right now. I am Scott McGregor, and this is Penguins postgame. You're locked in to Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins play here on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Hey, Shooty scores! The bingo game is ready to roll. Welcome to Penguins postgame. I'm PPG for PGH, and you'd have to be here to believe it. Here is your host, Scott McGregor. Penguins get absolutely thrashed by the Ottawa Senators tonight at PPG Paints Arena. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Penguins postgame. Penguins and the Ottawa Senators at PPG Paints Arena on the return of Jaromir Jagr bobblehead night. And it's a very odd, I should say, very odd start time for the Penguins. And, well, okay, maybe not as odd of a start time. Maybe not as odd of a start time for the Ottawa Senators, but it's a very odd start time for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh, by the way, they got to play at 5 o'clock, at 5 p.m. Eastern, tomorrow night. You got to be wondering, against a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning and old friend Jake Gensel, what are we wondering is going to be the case here when it comes down to the Tampa Bay Lightning? And speaking of the Lightning, we will talk about them over the course of the program. But that was just embarrassing. I cannot tell you, Penguins fans, how embarrassed I was to be listening to the Penguins radio network, and the Penguins just absolutely did not play Penguins hockey in this game. I feel like we have to address the elephant in the room before we get down to our originally planned thing, but let's keep things on track here. Travis Green and Mike Sullivan, the head coaches of this game for the Ottawa Senators and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Nedeljkovic, Jari. Well, Nedeljkovic got the start for the Penguins against Levy M. If I pronounce the name wrong, I apologize. Levy Moralian. Levy Moralian. I'll just say that just in case, just to check it out. If I pronounced it wrong, I sincerely apologize. Anton Forsberg was the backup. He was not needed. He was not needed in this one. Oh, by the way, we also didn't see Linus Ullmark this game. But you know who we did see on the Penguin side of things? Tristan Jarry. You think Tristan's going to start after a good start backing up for the Penguins? Yeah, I think so. But Alex Nedeljkovic, my guy, this was not your night at all. But the Penguins did not help you as much as they possibly could have. And speaking of that, why don't we just jump the gun right now? And before we get into scoring, which we'll do so in our second segment, why don't we just address the elephant in the room before we get into our first break of the program. And the elephant in the room, well, in case you're wondering what I mean by elephant in the room, the elephant in the room was the penalties. 15 penalties in the first period, a couple to a side. First, the Penguins have to have Michael Bunting serve a delaying game penalty for an unsuccessful challenge after the game's first goal, scored by, you know what? Let's just do it. Scored by Tyler Klevin. Tyler Klevin, his second goal of the season. The Penguin Philadelphia Flyer penalty killer. Well, I should say the Penguins killer. Claude Giroux, 16th assist of the season for him. Adam G, 5th assist of the season. This goal would stand after Mike Sullivan challenged for interference. And guess what? At this same time, Michael Bunting is going to be assessed to serve a Penguins bench penalty by unsuccessful challenge. Mike Sullivan challenged for interference. There was no interference. And it's 1-0 Ottawa. Now, that trend continued. Shane Pinto scoring the game's first PPG for OTT of the night, 5 minutes and 14 seconds in. His 7th goal of the season, first of the night. He was on hat trick watch before we even hit the second period. Claude Giroux, second assist of the night, his 17th of the season. Thomas Chabot, his 16th assist of the season. This would go on and on over the course of the program, over the course of the game, I should say. Pinto with one more goal in the first period. But before we get to that, penalties galore, 7 minutes and 5 seconds in. Theodore Oliver Joseph. He's going to the sin bin for a roughing at 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Michael Bunting. He's going to the box for roughing. Nick Cousins. He's going to the box for roughing. Bunting, again, going to the box for roughing. Zach O, he's going to the box for roughing. Cousins, still going to the box for roughing. This went on and on to count one. To count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 guys went into the penalty box. Well, I mean, technically 1, 2, 3. And then, of course, you went 1, 2, 3. 3 guys for Ottawa, 3 guys for Pittsburgh spent a couple of minutes in the box on a 2-minute minor, all for roughing. And the clobberingness continues. Nick Cousins gives Pittsburgh their first power play of the night. He is called for high sticking. 8 minutes and 55 seconds in. Also, just a little bit later, after the 5 seconds, it was a shorty. Oh, no, sorry. We're not at that point yet. Well, actually, no, we are at the point. The shorthanded goal came on that penalty to Drake Bafferson. Oh, no, sorry. That came late in the first period. So they do kill off that Drake Bafferson high sticking penalty. Matt Nieto, he will spend some time in the box for slashing. 11 minutes and 18 seconds. 43 seconds later, Tim Tsitsula, 2 minutes for tripping. Alex Nedeljkovic has Jesse Puljujarvi, Jesse Puljuvari serve a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for him. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. And, of course, 19 seconds. Also at that time, Ottawa Senators, Drake Bafferson, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. And Cole Reinhardt also going to the box for unsportsmanlike conduct. All that happening at 15 minutes and 19 seconds. Later in the frame, Nick Cousins receives a 2-minute boarding call, 17 minutes and 53 seconds in. And this time, the Penguins get caught on the shorthanded side. Shane Pinto, second goal of the game, 8th of the season. He's on hat-trick watch. Ridley Gregg on the assist, 7th of the season for Ridley Gregg. 19 minutes and 4 seconds in. Ottawa makes it 3-0, short-handed. And then the captain of the Penguins, oh my goodness, takes a penalty with no time on the clock. He takes a penalty with no time on the clock. Crosby goes for slashing 20 minutes into the game's first period of play. On the bright side for the Penguins in this one, they were leading 9-7 at the end of the first period. They're only leading by 2 shots on goal? Yeah, 2 shots on goal. Okay, technically they're leading by 1 shot on goal because the Penguins were taking away one of their 9 shots on goal. That 9th shot on goal was taken away. Anywho, the Senators are on top 3-0. When we come back, we'll get to the second period mess of penalties and the scoring coming up. Plus, our shots after regulation and shots after 40 minutes leading into our total shots. So be sure to stick with us. All that coming up on Penguins postgame when we continue in just a moment. Stick with us.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
The Penguins have a bit of a rough night against the Ottawa Senators. They have a bit of a rough night against the Ottawa Senators. And it showed on the scoreboard as they were not able to score in this one at all. Goals by Shane Pinto. He got 2 of them. Tyler Cleven, Drake Bafferson, and Tim Stützle. Speaking of Bafferson, he gets things started 41 seconds into the second period to make it 4-0 Ottawa on the power play, and scored the second power play goal for Ottawa of the night, his 14th of the season. That's overall in the season. 9th assist of the season for Josh Norris. Yeah, there we go. Jake Sanderson, though, on the assist as well. His 21st of the season. And 41 seconds in, the Penguins have an even bigger hole to climb. They have an even bigger mountain to climb. It's now 4-0 Ottawa. Still without a goal. And then Tim Stützle pretty much put this one in the basket. He pretty much put this one on ice. His 13th goal of the season. Claude Giroux, have a night Giroux. His 3rd assist in the hockey game. 18th of the season. Nick Jensen on the assist as well. His 13th of the season. 7 minutes and 6 seconds in, leading to our ultimately final score 5-0. 5-0. But the Penguins do see Ottawa take 2 penalties in the second period. And first, we go to the Penguin penalty, and that went to Michael Bunting 3 minutes and 19 seconds in. Penguins kill that one off. Ottawa, Tyler Cleven, 2-minute minor for interference at 8:08, 8 minutes and 8 seconds. At 17 minutes and 9 seconds, Nick Cousins takes the final penalty of the game for an illegal check to the head against Michael Bunting. And I don't know if Michael Bunting's going to play tomorrow, but I don't think he's going to do so, because I think the illegal check to the head, if that did some damage to Michael Bunting, I don't see Bunting playing tomorrow night against Tampa Bay in Pittsburgh. No penalties to speak of in the third period. So our total shots on goal after 40 minutes of play, Ottawa on top 12-11. But the Penguins were on top 20-19 for the game. After regulation, though, that changed. Well, no, it didn't really change, because the Penguins outshot Ottawa 29-22. They did lose another shot, though. They lost another shot. So they had 29-22 in the shot total. 10 shots on goal in the third period. So it almost looked like they had 11 shots to me. But no, they actually had 10 in the regulation period. Ottawa had 3. So Ottawa finishes being outshot 29-22, but they win the game 5-0. And that will bring us now, as we are in the second segment of the show, to a look at our game stats, and we'll also take a look at our 3 stars of the game. Plus, we got the play of the game, the shake of the game, and the game puck of the game, and we'll set up Lightning and the Penguins coming up, as well as our triple trouble coming up in a little bit. All that coming up in a little bit, but before we take a break, the Penguins saw 45 faceoffs in this one. They won 23, winning 51.1% of the faceoff. The faceoffs for Ottawa at 48 will make it 49%, as they won 22 out of 45 of the faceoff. They were 50% good on the power play, perfect on the penalty kill, 6 for 6 on the penalty kill for Ottawa. The Penguins' power play, was terrible. They go 0 for 6. Meanwhile, Ottawa goes 2 for 4 on the power play, scoring twice on the power play. And so, I would guess, but I'll make sure, just in case, I would guess the Penguins' penalty kill. I would guess the Pittsburgh Penguin penalty kill was 2 for 4 on the penalty kill, which is not bad, but they really had a rough night. Yes, indeed, they were 2 for 4 on the penalty kill. So they're 0 for 6 on the power play. Ottawa is 6 for 6 on the PK. They are 2 for 4 on the power play. Yeah, and just about 49% to 51%. But the Penguins do win the game in the shots on goal tally. Well, I mean, it's 30 to 22. You call it what you want to call it. I have here on NHL 29-22, but it actually was 30. It actually was 30 to 22. But regardless, doesn't matter. The Penguins lost this game, and that'll bring us, before we take this break, to our 3 stars of the game. And Levi Morellin, in his game against Pittsburgh tonight, he records his first year shutout in the NHL. As the Senators cruise by the Penguins, he stopped all 30 of the Penguin shots on goal. He stopped all 30 of the Penguin shots on goal. And on top of that, did not let a single one get by him. He did not let a single one get by him in this one. He is your 3rd star. Claude Giroux, the Penguin killer from Philadelphia. He killed the Penguins again. 3 points in the game, 3 assists, 0 goals. He is your 2nd star. Shane Pinto, your number 1 star. 2 goals, 2 points, no assists for him. If you don't like how the 3 stars shaped up in this one, head on over to our Discord server, Penguins Post-Game Show Interaction, or send an email to sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. And also, I want to remind you that we are open to having sponsorships. So if you would like to sponsor the segment we just went over, the 3 stars of the game, which on the Penguins Radio Network is brought to you by your neighborhood Ford stores. Ford, cars, trucks, and SUVs are the official vehicles of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Or you would like to sponsor one of the upcoming segments coming up in just a matter of moments after we take this quick break, we will be more than happy to oblige with you. I'll be more than happy to oblige with you. 3 stars of the game again on the Penguins Radio Network. brought to you by your neighborhood Ford stores. Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs are the official vehicles of the Pittsburgh Penguins. We are not sponsored by Ford, the official car, truck, and SUV of the Pittsburgh Penguins. We are also not sponsored by their sponsor for the play of the game, Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll get to the play of the game, plus the shake of the game, and the game puck of the game, followed all by our next five. But before we get into the shake of the game, play of the game, and of course our as always our game puck of the game, we're going to touch on we're going to touch on what has gone on so far in a very busy Saturday night in the NHL. We'll touch on all that next when Penguins postgame continues. Stick with us.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners. Alrighty, Penguins fan. This mess of a game has pretty much come up to its wrap up, but I mean, we still have some stuff to do here. But speaking of messes, why don't we see what other types of messes have gone on so far tonight? Well, here's a look at some of the finals besides our game. In the early window, the Boston Bruins picked up a dub against the Florida Panthers. They picked up a 4-3 win in overtime. The Seattle Kraken, playing at the same time the Penguins were playing the Senators, they defeat the Sabres 6-2 in Buffalo tonight. The Vancouver Canucks in the late window do exactly what Ottawa did to Toronto. Or sorry, what Ottawa did to Pittsburgh to Toronto. Here's the difference. They didn't score 5 goals. They beat the Maple Leafs 3-0. Other finals. In a shootout, the Stars beat the Canadiens 2-1. The Lightning were taken down by the Devils 3-2, and that's who the Penguins will see tomorrow. That was in overtime. While one side of Pennsylvania is feeling a bit like we have to really watch this loss from Ottawa, the other is celebrating. The Flyers beat the Ducks 6-0. The Oilers they beat close. They beat the Blackhawks 4-3. The Winnipeg Jets beat the Avalanche 3-0. St. Louis Blues fell to the Blue Jackets 2-1. Washington Capitals beat the Nashville Predators 4-1. And also, we have some other late games in play right now. The Golden Knights and Rangers still tied at nothing doing. They're tied at nothing doing. Nothing. Headed to the second period. Headed to the third period, Nick Schmaltz with the only goal against the Islanders, the USL Hockey Club, leading 1-0. The San Jose Sharks are down 1-0, headed to the second period against the Minnesota Wild. And the LA Kings. The Kings are playing tonight. Well, I guess that will maybe answer our question here. They lead the Flames right now 1-0 in their season series. Sorry, Calgary leads in the season series 1-0, but headed to the second period of the game, the Kings lead 1-0, and they are playing the Flames tonight, this time from the Saddle Dome. And it's the second time they're playing from the Saddle Dome. The only time they were going to play this season, as they're in a 3-game season series with the Flames, was going to be at Crypto.com Arena, but on Wednesday we've heard about wildfires. Well, actually, it started on Tuesday, and then we also heard on Wednesday that Kings and the Flames were postponed. So I'm not exactly sure if that game in LA is going to play where LA is the home team is going to play in a neutral site, but we'll see what the NHL decides. Regardless, that game is ongoing right now. And now that we've gotten our little bit of a scoreboard update out of the way, well, actually more of a finals and scoreboard update, that will bring us now to the play of the game. Play of the game on the Penguins Radio Network, brought to you by Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We are not sponsored by Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. And so without further ado, we'll bring you the play of the game. And it comes to us if the old 2-9er was on the radio side for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It comes to us courtesy of the old 2-9er Phil Borg. But for me, it's going to go to, you know what? I'm going to go with the first goal by Shane Pinto. I mean, first of all, the goal by Tyler Kleven was good, but I really don't think Mike Sullivan should have challenged that. And I really don't think I really don't think the Penguins should challenge a goal if they're not going to get it. I really don't think it was a good idea. So my play of the game is Shane Pinto's first goal on the power play that really set the tone for a rough night for Pittsburgh, as it was tonight in PPG Paints Arena. It was a really rough night for the Penguins tonight, and it also had to deal with the fact that the power play wasn't connecting on all cylinders. The penalty kill the penalty kill was trying their best, but their best tonight was not good enough. And all in all, Penguins fans, this was definitely not Pittsburgh Penguins hockey. I'm telling you right now, this was not Pittsburgh Penguins hockey at all by any stretch of the imagination. And to the point of Paul Steigerwald, Brian Metzer, Joe Brand, and everybody at the Penguins Radio Network, it is the fourth time this season, the Penguins have now been shut out. They were shut out in the opener of the season against the Rangers. They were shut out in New Jersey in mid-December before they faced off against Philadelphia, only 3-0. They were shut out by the Oilers the last time the Oilers met the Penguins, 4-0. And twice in October they were shut out against the Rangers and then against the Oilers. So honestly, I really don't know what to say about this game. But with that being said, that brings me to our Jake of the game. And you know what? Forget about doing what we normally do when we give props to our to the Penguins and the team that they play against, because I honestly don't know who I would give a. You know what? No, we're gonna stick to what we're doing, what we always do. So here we go. Let's start with the Penguins, and it's a pick me up, and you can tell why. We're gonna do it one per side because we got another game to come. We got another game coming up at 5 p.m. tomorrow, and on top of that, we got some Buffalo football to do. We got some women's hockey to do. That coming up at 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, tomorrow. But my goodness, let's just talk about it here. We're gonna give a shout to Tristan Jarry coming in relief of Alex Nedeljkovic, and he made 5 saves as to a reason why it's not 6 or 7-0. Ottawa shutting out the Penguins 6-0 or 7-0. Hashtag touchdown Ottawa. In this case, the CFL's case, touchdown Red Blacks, given that it was Penguins versus the Ottawa Senators. I would have wanted to say touchdown Steelers, but the Penguins did not have a goal on the game, nor did they even score 5 in this game. So Tristan Jarry is going to get the shake of the game, pick me up. An honorable mention to Alex Nedeljkovic, but Nedeljkovic was not playing well at all. He does make 12 saves on 17 shots, but he was not at his best in this one. He allows a shorthanded goal, power play goals, even strength goals. Not a very good performance by Alex Nedeljkovic. Tristan Jarry, well, 5 shots, 5 saves. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say Tristan's going to get the start against the Lightning on Sunday, tomorrow night. I think it's pretty safe to say that he's going to get the start. Another honorable mention, Michael Bunting. And this is a pick-me-up. Why? Because Bunting spent 6 minutes in the penalty box in this game. Very bad play overall by the Penguins team. There's an old saying, can't win if you can't score. And that was certainly the case for the Penguins tonight. Jake of the game recipient for the Ottawa Senators, their goaltender, Levi Morales. Levi Morellinen. Levi M. We're going to go with Levi M. I'm just going to go with Levi M. Or we're just going to go with LM. I'm sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. I've given it my best shot, but if I pronounced the name wrong, I apologize. A real nice start, and you'll always remember your first 3-year shutout in the NHL. That came against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I honestly don't believe any stretch of the imagination could have prepared him for a great night like this one. This was a really great night for LM. First career NHL shutout. It comes against the Penguins. You make 30 saves on 30 shots. Of course, on the NHL app, it says 29 saves on 29 shots. But regardless, he was still unstoppable. He was playing lights out, and it's a big reason why Ottawa now has a 2-game series lead on the Pittsburgh Penguins. And even if the Penguins win the next time Ottawa and the Penguins meet, they've lost the season series to Ottawa. So it really doesn't matter whether they win or lose. What matters is they'll try to avoid the sweep when they play next. All right. We've got the game puck of the game coming up in a matter of moments, plus the next 5 games for the Penguins and the Senators. And I'm going to get to the game puck of the game before we hit our final break of the program. But first, let's actually take that break. And while we take that break, I want to let everyone in on Triple Trouble. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. For the first time on Sports for Beginners, whether the shows drop on Monday, they drop on Tuesday, or whenever they drop, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Buffalo Bills, and the Professional Women's Hockey League, all 3 shows, the Bills versus the Broncos, the Penguins versus the Bolts, the Lightning, to be specific, Tampa Bay Lightning to be specific, and the Frost versus the Victoire. It's all happening right here on Sports for Beginners. And it all kicks off at 1 p.m. Eastern with a recap of Bills versus Broncos. Well, it all kicks off with a recap of that game from 1 p.m. Eastern between the Bills and the Broncos. Can the Bills move on in the NFL playoffs? Or is Bo Nix going to be too much for the Bills to handle? Plus, Taylor Heisey and the Minnesota Frost go head-to-head with Captain Clutch, Marie-Philippe Poulin, and the Montreal Victoire. We'll also get into what happened earlier in the day between Toronto and New York, which is at 12 p.m. Eastern on that PWHL recap. And later we'll wrap it up with Penguins and Bolts on Penguins postgame. So you've got women after the Bills and the Broncos. And, of course, you've got Penguins and the Bolts coming up later. All right, with that being said, we'll take a quick timeout, game puck of the game, and the next 5 when Penguins postgame continues in just a matter of moments. Stick with us. Final segment, the next 5 for the Penguins and the Senators, as well as when they'll do battle again, and the game puck of the game. It's all coming up next in just a matter of moments. Stick with us.
Looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams? Listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map.
Well, you win some, you lose some, and that was the case for the Penguins tonight. They lose 5-0 to the Ottawa Senators. Hey, good news. It's not like Buffalo. It's not like the Bills. If they lose this one, they're done. They're done. But we'll get to Buffalo on on the Bills post game show coming up on Sunday. A reminder, we'll also have the Frost and the Victoire coming up on PWHL recap later, and then the Bolts and the Penguins. So I'll be back to do Penguins post game with you as soon as we get through with the Frost and the Fleet. And of course, we're going to do Broncos and the Bills. All that coming up on Sunday, which is tomorrow. And of course, whenever you are able to tune into the program, we're working on getting things under control here and trying to get as much shows to you as we can. We're still a little bit behind from 2024 and into now 2025. But regardless, we're making our round as we can, and we will have those 2024 shows out on the ice and behind the benches for you on Penguins Wednesday hockey in a matter of moments. Should we be able to get them to you? Hopefully, we're able to get as much to you as we can. If we can't get you the whole season, we'll at least try to get as many as we can to you on the ice and behind the bench if you missed it. So with that all being said, I invite you to join us for the Triple Trouble. First time that we will begin. The first time that we will begin running Triple Trouble, Penguins, Bills, and Professional Women's Hockey League content coming up on Sports for Beginners. But boy howdy, let's just put a bow on this one here with our game, puck of the game. We're going to do one per team for this one. So first off, let's start with the victorious Ottawa Senators. And tonight, the game puck of the game, I'm going to give it to Shane Pinto. He really played well. And by the way, he was on hat trick watch. So if he scored Ottawa's 6th goal of the game or a 7th goal of the game, he would have his hat trick tonight. It obviously didn't happen. Right side, he can probably try to do it again in the next matchup that the Penguins and the Ottawa Senators meet in, which is on March 30th, 2025, at the end of the month of March. Funny, by the time you hear the end of the month March program on Weekly in Sports, when it becomes a podcast, we might just be getting you ready for that game. We'll see. But that, of course, is a 5 p.m. Eastern time start time for the Penguins and the Senators as the season series wraps up in Pittsburgh on March 30th, 2025. However, a lot of business to take care of before we get there. So Shane Pinto is going to get my game puck of the game for the Ottawa Senators. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, once again, I want to touch on the performance of Tristan Jarry in goal, in relief. Really nice performance by Tristan Jarry. Only 5 shots on goal. Actually 6 shots on goal to be exact, were stopped by him. He stopped 6 shots on goal. And with that all being said, Jari is going to get my game puck of the game for this one. All right, so the Penguins can flush this one because they got to get ready. They got to be ready for the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow. That's at 5 p.m. Eastern. Speaking of games at 5 p.m. Eastern. And again, that is at 5 o'clock. Penguins and the Lightning. That's going to be an interesting game between the Pens and the Lightning as they face off against old friend. Yes, I said old friend, Jake Gensel. It's the second of 3 meetings between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Tampa Bay leads the season series 1-0. Can the Penguins get even with the Lightning? Or was the Ottawa game tonight a preview of what's coming from Tampa Bay? They'll wrap up the homestand on Tuesday with the Seattle Kraken coming into town on Tuesday night. And then they are off on a bit of a big road trip. It will begin in Buffalo. Head on over to the nation's capital of the United States. They will head on into the nation's capital of the United States, Washington, D.C., to take on the Capitals on next Saturday night. On an off day on Sunday, but we'll be back in action against the L.A. Kings. That might actually get moved, but as it stands right now, it's 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Crypto.com Arena for the Kings and the Penguins at Monday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll see what the situation is in Los Angeles around that timeline. Hopefully that doesn't get derailed, but if that does get derailed, we'll see where the Kings and the Penguins will meet for their second and final meeting of the season. They will take on the Ducks on Thursday. They will take on the Ducks on the Thursday, the 23rd of January at 10 p.m. Eastern in Anaheim. And that's the first of now 4 games on a road trip. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game road trip for the Penguins coming up. But their next 5 are the Lightning tomorrow, the Kraken Tuesday, Sabres Friday, followed by the Capitals on Saturday. And if it is a go in LA, they'll take on the King on Monday, January 20th, 2025. Wrapping things up here with a look now at the next 5 for Ottawa. And for Ottawa, let's see. Who is Ottawa going to be playing next? We know they'll play Pittsburgh coming up in their next 5. But Ottawa won't play Pittsburgh until we get to March. So they got a month to wait. On their next 5, they are also back in action. Tomorrow, they will be back at it with the Dallas Stars coming into town for one night only as they take on the Stars at 5 p.m. Eastern. They'll face the New York Islanders in Long Island on Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Washington is in town on Thursday for a 2-game homestand that will see the Capitals play Ottawa in Ottawa at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then it's an afternoon matinee matchup between the Boston Bruins and the Ottawa Senators, followed by a 3-game road trip that kicks off in New Jersey, and that will close out our next 5 for Ottawa. Dallas tomorrow, the Islanders Tuesday, Capitals Thursday, Boston next Saturday, and next Sunday at 1 p.m. in New Jersey. It's the Devils versus Senators. Meanwhile, for us, tomorrow, following what we do on Sports for Beginners, on Sunday between the Broncos and the Buffalo Bills, and the Montreal Victoire and the Minnesota Frost, it's the Penguins and the Bolts. Next time on Penguins Postgame. My name is Scott McGregor. Thank you guys so much for joining us here today on the podcast. Would love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast. Have a great rest of your evening. Let's go Pens. And I look forward to catching with you again real soon. I am Scott McGregor, and this has been Penguins Postgame. Good night, everybody. And as always, let's go Pens. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. You've just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners or visit the official Sports for Beginners podcast website. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay tuned. And remember that it is not goodbye, it is until next time. And you'd have to be here to believe it.